Hello, everyone, and welcome to our review of Wicked for Good. This is, of course, the follow-up to last year's Wicked Part 1, based off of the musical and the book. Remind me, gentlemen, what were your feelings on Wicked the Musical Part 1 in theaters? Did you guys
that was good.
like it? Yeah,
we loved
you
it.
liked that one?
Yeah.
Jeff, you're a fan?
Yeah, we were enthusiastic.
I thought we all had a great time with that one.
Yeah.
Devindra
Incredibly fun.
Hardwar, after much anticipation, much box office hype, the second movie is in theaters now. What did you think of Wicked for Good?
I thought this one was a struggle, guys. I really struggled to stay awake during this movie. It was like a constant battle. I did not expect to like the first Wicked, but I thought Jon Chu did a great job of like adapting it with really impressive sets. The songs were great. The charisma with the cast was great. The visuals, despite looking artificial, I think the artificialness kind of fit what it was going for. I liked overall that first experience. Problem with this movie is that it just feels like we are taking forever to get anywhere. Like it's moving quickly to really get nowhere. Partially it's because we kind of know where it's going. I've seen the musical, so I kind of know where the ending is going. But also the journey getting there is just not that interesting. Like the songs aren't good. The basic plotting of whatever else is actually happening in this movie didn't feel very compelling. It just felt like it was going through the motions to set up the things you expect from The Wizard of Oz. And yeah, it just felt like I did not know why I was sitting in the theater, because in my head, I could just kind of complete the rest of the Wicked story. Even if I didn't see the musical, you can kind of have a sense of how things would kind of get to where the actual, the original story was. So yeah, this movie was not for me. I did not like the songs, and I thought it was a total slog.
Sorry to hear, Devindra Hardwar. Jeff Kanata, what did you think of Wicked for Good?
Well, Dave, I guess you could say what I thought of Wicked for Good is best summed up in the form of a limerick.
Oh, let's hear it, Jeff.
Still love the design and the craft, but the first one had joy and some laughs. The music's still strong, but this feels overlong, a flat, disconnected back half.
Ooh.
I agree with Devindra. I also struggled to stay awake. I brought my mom with me because as I mentioned earlier in the episode, she was in town. Brought my mom with me to see this. She also loved the first one. Also thought this was not that great. We both walked out going, ugh. And it's hard, right? It's a hard thing to do, to take what is the second act of a 2-act play after the post-intermission stuff of a musical and just make that its own standalone movie. That's a hard proposition, I think. And I don't think it works here. I have not seen the stage musical. I'm very curious about how some of the things I saw in this movie work on stage. I suspect I would like it a lot more on stage.
Yes.
But there's a magic trick that this movie pulls that I suspect you'll want to save for spoilers. But I have a lot of thoughts about that.
Yeah.
And I don't think I respect the notion of it, the game we're playing.
Right.
But I don't think in the context of this film it works at all.
Yeah.
And I just think this movie...
I was looking forward to you seeing the movie to understand. And let me just say, as I was watching it, I was like, oh man, this isn't as good as I thought it would be for Jeff's sake.
Yeah, it's a bummer because I bet on stage it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
And just the way this is pulled off in the film, it really feels forced. That was the word my mom used when we walked out. I was like, what do you think, Mom? She was like, it felt so forced. And I think, honestly, that's kind of what happens here, is that we force a second entire trip to the movies out of something that was never intended to be that.
Yeah.
And I think it really falls flat. And it's such a bummer because the first movie is such a triumph and it has so much. You come out of that movie going, yeah, I can't wait for the second one.
Right. And
then this one just really feels like it is really too long, really too slow. Nothing felt as vibrant and fun. I mean, still love the design, love the world building. The way things are visualized is really spectacular. And the two leads are stunning. Their voices are magnificent. But
it'd be great. Imagine if we put them in a room together occasionally in the second half. That would be
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't happen very
I think
often.
if they had managed to make a 2 hour and 45-minute movie of the whole thing, it may have been stronger than two and a half hour movies.
Yeah. Okay. That's all very reasonable, guys. And I have to say, in general, I agree with you. I don't think this is very good, and it's a shame. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'll share a couple before we get to spoilers. Number one, most of the problems with this film can be directly attributed to issues with the actual musical itself, right? So it's not like the musical did this so much better and then the movie killed it. Now I think we are much more willing to forgive it in musical form for a variety of reasons. First of all, like, we don't expect musicals to have super nuanced plotting. In fact, often we go to the musicals because they don't have that, right? And it's extremely exaggerated and over the top, and people are singing all the time, right? And so I think, if I had to assign an issue, I'm gonna go out of the box on this one. I think Wicked Part 1, the movie, was too good. That's what I think. I know it sounds like I'm being facetious, but like,
no, it's for good.
I think it was too good because John Chu and his collaborators were able to convince us, oh, this would be good in movie form. Like, this musical would be good in movie. Like, here is an actual fully realized movie form of Wicked, and it's actually like pretty good.
Yeah.
And
the best songs of Wicked too. Crucial.
Yeah, that's the best thing. First of all,
Wicked.
I mean, Wicked Part 1 had at least 4 bangers, like just incredible, like, and possibly more depending on how you count them. Like, virtually every other song in that Wicked Part 1 was awesome, right? And Wicked Part 2, in my opinion and many other people's opinion, just doesn't have the same quality of songs. There is For Good, that's very good, but like, there is, No Good Deed and a couple of others that people might like, but like, it's not on the same caliber. And I do think that in musical form, we forgive this more because it's like, oh, you expect musicals to take shortcuts.
Yeah.
You expect musicals to be like, oh, he's evil and now he's good. Like, that just is normal in musicals. It does not work as well in movie form. Also, you're not paying for 2 separate tickets separated by 1 year to go see it in musical form, right? And so those 2 things, I think, really make Wicked for Good feel like accentuate the flaws in a Wicked for Good.
Can I say another thing that I think works against this movie?
Yeah.
And that is Wicked as a concept is in conversation with The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
And The Wizard of Oz, as it is most conventionally known, is not Baum's books. It's the film. It's the movie. And when you have a stage musical in conversation with a film, there are certain that dynamic in itself doesn't draw the same comparisons when you have a film in conversation with a film. And it's, we'll get into this in spoilers, but the way this movie wants to sort of interact with The Wizard of Oz, I think you have more leeway on stage because we know we're not watching a movie.
Right.
We know we're not watching something that exists in the same visual vocabulary and cinematic place.
Right. And
whereas,
here you're making the direct
that's
comparison and connection to the movie, right?
To
the Wizard of Oz, the movie.
You are using the same visual language. You are in the same kind of audience experience that you would be. And so all the places where it is discordant with that in that conversation are greatly exaggerated. Whereas in the stage musical, you're like, wow, it's cool that it's referencing the movie.
Right. I remember that from the movie. Whereas here, you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense. And also,
that's not how the movie was.
This is a generation. We're a generation of film goers that's been trained to be like, wait, that doesn't connect with at scene 5, act 2, he's not wearing that when he enters the shot.
But also I mean, we'll talk about it more in spoilers, but it's like the visual language doesn't sync up, and it doesn't matter if the visual language doesn't sync up on stage because it's different. It's different language.
I don't actually think that part is that big of a deal, but there's other things that are a big deal. Let me just say this, and let's get to spoilers. Which is, I think that there was an opportunity to actually improve some of the components of the musical that wouldn't
Yeah.
work on film, and that they did not take that opportunity. And I understand that because they,
Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to do. It's hard to take this second half of the musical and hey, let's add in more character development. Let's add in
Yeah.
more of a payoff for like. I'll just give an example. There is an entire subplot in the first film about animals being
Yeah.
treated like prisoners and very poorly in this society. They're kind of a proxy for immigrants, I think, essentially.
Yeah.
And completely nothing is done with that at all in
Right.
this movie
Yeah.
at all. Like
First movie
basically,
had like it was something that movie was saying that applied to modern life too.
absolutely.
Like it felt very
culturally relevant, politically relevant.
Yeah.
Like if they had really, and they could have spent time developing that out, and they didn't. And they didn't.
Is that in
and
the
it's like,
play?
it not really. Like
Not
what is
really.
in the
That's even
movie is
weirder.
a fairly representative of what is in the musical, right? Like so,
Yeah.
what like it's
Oh
it's
wait,
not
so
like
in the movie, in the first movie's animal stuff is in the musical as well.
Yes.
Okay,
But again, in the musical, it's like much more forgivable because
yeah,
we expect musicals to take shortcuts and oh wow,
Yeah.
like I'm
and
watching.
it's hard to have a talking animal on stage.
Right, but I'm watching something incredible, which is like people singing and making music together live, and it's like that's like a key part of watching a musical. Whereas in movie form, yes, the music is good, but now I'm focusing on okay, how does this theme pay off? This theme
Right.
pay off? How does the plot work? In a
Yeah.
way that you're not when you're watching a musical, and they could have improved the movie adaptation, but it would have required a lot of work, and instead they ended up writing additional songs, and I don't think the songs are that good, and I don't the songs aren't bad, but it's like I think that was not where they applied their efforts in this movie. I don't think is where the most work needed to go to.
Mhm.
And it's unfortunate that therefore the second half is not as good as the first film. I do wonder, Jeff, if we had seen this movie as like one big 3.5 hour long movie, like how we would feel about it. I suspect we would still think the second half is rushed.
Mhm.
It would feel rushed, but I think we might be a little more forgiving because we didn't have to pay an extra $15 or whatever.
We're just spending too much time in that part of the story.
Yeah,
I think that's
true.
the big thing. Partially, it's that it's sort of like the Game of Thrones situation too, where I feel like a lot of thought was put into the beginning of this. How do we kick this off? How do we get people into this story? And the wrapping up of it. They tried some things, but it didn't feel nearly as compelling.
Yeah, and again, I think it's largely because of the musical. Like it's all the problems with this movie, I think, can be directly attributed to the musical. And so the flaw is not that they did a poor job adapting the musical. The flaw is that or maybe you could say it that way, but like the flaw is that they didn't think through more how bad the second part of the musical is.
To me, that's a poor job of adapting the
that.
musical. To me,
Right.
like that is
fair,
the job of adapting the musical.
Fair. Okay. Let's get to spoilers for Wicked for Good starting right now. When we first talked about Wicked Part 1 last year, I was thinking, oh, Jeff has never seen this. He's going to be so delighted when it turns out, oh, all these characters are part of the Wizard of Oz. Then I'm watching Wicked for Good, this last week, and I'm watching it and I'm thinking, man, this doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like none of this fits in at all. Like why would the Tin Man be so cheerful in the Wizard of Oz? Like that doesn't make any sense. Why, why would the Scarecrow go along with this at all? I understand there's explanations you could come up with. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Well,
but it doesn't like fit in.
No,
it's
it does
not.
not.
You watch it, you're like, oh, I get it now. Like that moment doesn't happen. I don't think.
Right.
Nothing fits. Yeah.
The analogy that I was making is that this should feel like an additive, amazing look behind what was happening off camera during the original Wizard of Oz, and my gosh, this changes how I think about it and recontextualizes it, and oh my god, that's what it wants to be doing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the way it feels to me is like a production of Noises Off.
Yes.
Or even better, I think, is something like Back to the Future, or what's the other time travel one that I was thinking of, where it's like we have to, or Bill and Ted. That was the other one. Bill and Ted's
Uh-huh.
Excellent Adventure, where it's like, okay, we know what needs to happen in front of the in front of the camera of Wizard of Oz. And that's not what really is happening. But every time we step out and are in front of that camera, when we're in the timeline of Wizard of Oz, we have to pretend we're completely different people. And it's like, why? What? There's no explanation as to why we need to put up this facade of the plot of Wizard of Oz, instead of it being like, oh, this naturally is what was going on, and it infuses more meaning into the things we already saw. It's like, no, that what you saw is not at all true, but we were pretending the whole time that it was. And it's like, no, that makes Wizard of Oz worse. That makes this is all, none of this and it makes sense anymore. And all of it feels worse for having tried to shoehorn all those things into it.
I agree that that's probably true. And maybe you could make the argument that it's not trying to be a direct one-to-one to Wizard of Oz, that maybe it's more akin to adapting the books instead of the actual film. But even then,
it's farther away from the books than
it's farther.
Even then, it doesn't really.
And they're using all the iconography of the movies, other than the silver slippers,
other than the red slippers, which MGM has they have copyrighted or trademarked the red slippers.
I like how they're like, let's make them red for a second.
Yeah,
that'll trick them.
Dancing with the devil there.
My mom had a big problem with that.
Oh, really?
She could not get. Why were they not ruby? Why were the ruby slip? Why were they silver? Why were they?
That's the whole point.
Yeah. I think you're right, Jeff. That it doesn't like the ideal is you're thinking, oh, like I actually feel like I had that emotion when I was watching Wicked, per how you described. I was watching Wicked the musical and thinking, oh, this is so clever, like. And all this time, all this stuff was going on in the background. Then you watch the movie version, and so I don't know if I just had brain damage at the time or whatever, but like now I'm watching the movie and I'm like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Like that's not how the Tin Man would act in that scenario, right?
Like the idea that the Scarecrow is in love with the wig. And I kept waiting for them to be like, well, but he doesn't have a brain, so he can't remember it. But they didn't even give that to you. But yes, the Tin Man is like this angry, storming the castle, malcontent. It's like, where was that in the Wizard of Oz? Like,
he's nowhere in there. And the idea is, I guess the Scarecrow was maybe pretending that he didn't have a brain, because otherwise, how would he have come up with this brilliant plan with Elphaba to trick everyone?
Why does
I will say, Jeff, I do think it was cool that they never showed Dorothy's face. Like that was a cool.
I like that as well.
That's cool because you don't want to draw that direct comparison, and
that was everything nice. Everything is behind something through the thing. I thought that was actually well done.
Very tasteful.
I agree with that. Yeah. But just the fundamental notion that Elphaba would even need to keep the secret of her not dying from Galinda doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, why would they not be in on this plan together? She gains nothing by Galinda not knowing that she's alive. Like I don't understand what she even gains by that.
Yeah.
None of it seems to make any sense.
It does a weird thing where it's like the story of her being evil, she totally buys into it. It's like, okay, people need to believe this, so I have to go through these motions so that this is what the enemy people need, right? It's very Dark Knight of her. The villain people need,
but why?
They must believe this story. Why? I don't know.
Yeah,
there's no explanation given. We're all just trying to get to the credits here, okay?
If you think of every appearance of the Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz,
right,
it bears no resemblance to any behavior that we witness from Elphaba at any point. Yeah. And it's like,
towards the end, it's the same. I think pretty similar.
No,
because she has her no good deed moment. Then she's like, I'm not going to try to be good anymore, and then she becomes kind of evil for a little bit. So that's
I don't even buy that. Like I think the song is awesome, but like her turning to the dark side isn't really a turn to the dark side in this movie. It never asks you to consider her being genuinely wicked at any given time.
There's
She's
no
just like,
younglings
I'm
being
hurt,
killed.
and I don't. Fine, I'll be what you want me to be, but she's never
Yeah,
actually that.
I mean,
Yeah,
the problem is that Elphaba has a really satisfying and complete arc in the first part of the movie,
Yes,
right?
that's
Part
right.
one. Like
Yes.
that is the Elphaba arc. It's very good. It's very well
Yeah.
done. And then it's like the movie really doesn't have anywhere. The story doesn't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
And again, it's an issue with the musical, and they did not really do anything to address it.
Or maybe the book. I don't know.
Couple things that I'm a little bit bummed weren't better done in the second half. Again, this is all the musical's issue that was not improved on for the movie. But I feel like the Fiyero Elphaba romance is really underbaked. Like you get a little bit of it in the first one, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to believe they're like passionately in love in this one, and I didn't quite buy that. Galinda's takeover of the entire city, like hostile takeover of the entire city, I felt like went pretty quickly. So
what about the Wicked Witch of the East? Like that turn is so rushed.
The sister
so rushed.
is just
I
so
agree.
underserved here. Yeah.
And then and I think that I really wanted to experience this kind of emotional catharsis at the end of the movie during the For Good song, right? Of oh, these are two people that they've been through so much, and now they're finally saying goodbye, but they're acknowledging that they've made a difference in each other's lives, and it just didn't work for me because the plotting felt so muddled between the two of them until that point. Whereas that was not an issue with the first movie is extremely clear on like where they stand with each other. And so I just wasn't. I was deeply moved at various points in the first film, and just was not moved at all in the second half. Unfortunately,
I know how they could have fixed this. They could have like intercut scenes of like the press carpet stuff between the two leads, because like they have like they're really like gal pals now.
Well,
they're like very, very close.
They have great chemistry, I think, on screen. And the issue with the second half of the musical and movie is everyone's separated. Like everyone is in all these different places, and so they can't interact with each other. And that was one of the strongest aspects of the first film, is like seeing their relationship develop in the same location. So
I'll tell you, we haven't brought this up, but the Cowardly Lion thing, that kind of just broke my heart of how stupid that was.
It's very stupid.
It's like you're annoyed she let you out of captivity. That's her great crime. That's why you hate her now.
It's the lion from the first movie, Devindra. I don't know if you saw it. It's the lion from the first movie.
He barely looks like the lion from the first movie. I do want to say I like the way they did the final fight between Dorothy and Elphaba
in Shadows.
Right? Yeah,
that was cool.
That was interesting. There's some interesting ideas going on here. I wish we had more of that.
I also think the ending is pretty cool. Like there's no in the musical, like you don't see them walk off like that. Like there's no, it doesn't make
stage has an end.
Yeah, the stage doesn't open up to desert wasteland.
What do we do now? Shall we go to a real desert? Nah. Volume that shit.
So it's cool.
Go walk into the volume.
But it's cool. It's a cool concept, and it's a cool they're walking off into the sunset. It's very nice. It's like a thing that they can't do in the musical as well as they can in the movie. So yeah.
I have another big sort of conceptual problem with this whole endeavor. And this is a bugaboo that I have that probably doesn't bother most people, but the entire, like on the most basic level, the concept of this movie is the Wicked Witch wasn't actually wicked.
Right. Yeah.
But the way this plays out is there was a Wicked Witch. It's just Michelle Yeoh. It just it doesn't say, oh, hey, maybe wickedness is in the eye of the beholder, and there's no like actual point being made about, like, the first movie is trying to position it as like, oh, look at all these factors that make us judge someone unfairly and all and it's kind of making it, and then the second movie is like, no, there's a Wicked Witch, you just got the wrong one. She's wicked as hell. She'll do whatever she can to be wicked. But she's just hiding as Michelle Yeoh, and
I don't know if I agree with that formulation, or if that is what the movie's trying to do. I don't think
it's not trying to do that. It's just it's just lazy enough to be like, oh no, all the bad stuff is attributed. It still happened, and it's still bad, and somebody still did it. It's just not the person you thought. It's just transposing instead of actually solving that puzzle and saying, hey, maybe these quote unquote bad things that you saw can be recontextualized, and it didn't come from a bad place, and there wasn't. It's like, no, it did come from a bad place.
Mhm.
It's just this other lady.
Yeah,
it's stupid. I think that's lazy, and it doesn't actually do the thing you're purporting to do.
Yeah. Well, also, the whole immigrant subplot is like completely dropped, as we said in the first part of the review of like.
They have the they have the reintroduction of the goat.
Yeah, the goat.
And I was like, oh, but we're not going to pay what's his name?
He's not speaking.
Yeah,
it's a silent goat.
He gets no lines. I'm sorry, we're not paying him to be in the second movie. What's his name from Game of Thrones?
Dinklage.
Yeah, Dinklage. Thank you.
Yeah.
Overall, no real issues here that weren't in the musical, and also missed opportunity to really, they're not going to get that many bites of the apple, so to speak, of this, right? Like, they're not going to be like 15 Wicked adaptations, unless.
Well, there are more books.
Lives for another 10,000
There are
years.
more books by the Wicked guy, so they could continue doing those. I kind of was so grateful when this movie ended. I was like, I don't have to think about Wicked for a long time. I'm done. Let's tap out for a little bit because it's a little much. Let's move on to new stories. Man. And also, like, you guys don't have this, but like in New York, like it was still a thing.
Yeah.
It was still like there were always ads for it. There was always posters for it. Wicked never really went away. It just now it's more national with this franchise.
Well, I do think it's a great musical, and I do think that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are now like, they will be the primary way people know these characters now, which I think is remarkable because they both do a great job. And Cynthia Erivo in particular, like the new Wicked soundtrack is a gift for people who are fans of Wicked, because you have these two incredibly talented vocalists who are now performing these roles, but also it is a full orchestra. In the original Wicked, like, cast recording, it's always like very small pit orchestra size. Like, this is a full like 100, 200 piece orchestra performing these songs in a way that you've never heard them before, in a way that's like worthy of the grandeur of them. And so it's not like a complete loss to me or anything like that. I still think, I'm glad that this version exists, but it could have been transcendent masterpiece that everyone loved. And instead it's just straight up adapting a very flawed second half of the film, of the musical, I should say. So.
I almost wonder if they cut back on like the political commentary here as it became more relevant. There's we right now have secret police going around this country, arresting people willy-nilly. The kind of propaganda machine against immigrants, especially Latino immigrants, is like in full swing. That was kind of the setup of the first movie. We just don't get that here, other than the scene of the animals like going away. Yeah,
I was actually going to start. I forgot about this. I was going to start the podcast with like, I can't wait to watch another movie to escape reality where a con man runs the world and people are reporting their fellow citizens for sport. Anyway,
I mean, I will say the song that he has about lying and the bigger the lie,
it's pretty good.
I really enjoyed that in this movie because it's like, man, that could not be more on the nose.
Too real.
Yeah.
Too real. Yeah.
Right. And the point of that, which I think is extremely relevant, is it is not enough to simply know the truth. You have to be able to convince people of the truth. And that, between those two things is a million miles. And that
was his version of I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and nobody would care.
Yeah, like, that's right. That's right.
Tyrants fully aware of their power to manipulate. That is a dangerous thing.
100%.
Goldblum is great. The choreography of that sequence is great. Like, I thought that moment was a high point for me in the movie.
And I did think the Goldblum stuff kind of lined up well with the original Wizard of Oz movie, right? Like, they're blackmailing him to get the broom, and then she says, "Hey, you have to leave Oz," and then so he has to make up some reason to get in the balloon and stuff like that. That stuff lined up okay, I thought.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know, the fact that he's the man behind the screen in the reveal in the Wizard of Oz is just lifeless because of what we know of him, and I don't know, it's just all
But the Wizard of Oz was the Wicked Witch's father, guys.
I know.
Come on,
God.
huge reveal.
Gotta
Huge
love it.
reveal.
Just
Does it line up with Oz the Great and the Powerful? Do those
That's the
timelines
most
intersect?
important.
That's what we
the
need
most
to know.
important canonical part,
Yeah.
right? Is
Sam Raimi's coming out of this movie saying, "I put years into Oz the Great and the Powerful." No justice for that movie.
I literally don't think I could tell. I watched that movie. I spent
Yeah,
several
we
hours
all
of my
did.
life. We
all
reviewed
did.
that movie on the podcast. I literally do not think I could tell you one thing that happens in that movie.
Would you believe that Zach Braff is in that movie? When last
No.
have you said the name Zach Braff?
No.
every time I watch his commercials.
The T-Mobile guy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, at the end of the day, despite our disappointments with this movie, it is very impressive that Jon M. Chu made a movie. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.